Okay. Hey there. I just want to talk about violence. So, yeah, I think this is a big deal. Being in America, I think it's a pretty big deal. There's a lot of violence, whether it's school fighting out in the streets, or even arguments that get rough between relationships, or even kid violence when parents are abusing their kids. There's violence all over the place here, that as far as I know of, and I guess there's huge questions on that, on what, when, where, and why, and how to get rid of it, and things like that. I do believe I know exactly where it comes from. Violence, in my opinion, just like anything that's bad, comes from bad situations, because it comes from humans. We humans cause violence, and the violence comes from us. And what do humans come from? Life, situations, habitat, and that's how we pretty much create our violence. Our goal is to try to make life better. Why does violence come out of nowhere? Where does violence come in? Obviously, when we're not able to achieve that goal, or we're having a bad life, that's where anger comes around, and stress comes around, and violence comes around. So it makes it easier to cause violence on whatever thing around. As far as young kids, teenagers, it's not like they're taught any better. So it's the same thing, a little different with them. Young teenagers and young adults sometimes fight for different reasons than older adults. Obviously, older adults may fight or cause damage or abuse, maybe on children, or any type of violence based off of anger and bad situations. It's not often that an adult actually fights another adult as much as a teenager does, or a young adult. Teenagers and young adults fight more, and the question is, why? Sometimes I believe it's based off of reputation, and it's also based off of not caring, being just very careless, not even being mature. It's not like any kid is actually taught to break up a fight when they see one. A lot of teens especially will care more about their reputation than the actual person that they're getting into a fight with. They're just not being taught to care and have a heart. In this world, it's kind of like being in hell with a bunch of demons. There's some demons that you got to know and you formed an alliance with them, but then there's other demons that you don't give a shit about. And if they come near you, or they approach you the wrong way or disrespect you, you'll be quick to fight them. When you do, you'll hurt them. That's kind of like how the teenage world is nowadays. Just like a bunch of demons. When two teenagers get into a fight, they know they don't want to lose in front of a bunch of people watching, and they don't care about each other. They care about their reputation more than the actual human flesh. And none of these teenagers are gonna stop it. They're gonna stand around like demons, evil demons, and watch. And if they have something to do, any type of friendship or alliance with this teenager, they're gonna jump in. Sometimes that's usually what they do. It all depends on what kind of teenager that is. But in a horrible environment, things like that can happen, and fights get really rough. Violence is bad, and it happens more based off of that. Just not caring. With young teenagers not having a heart for any other person. And they grow up in this world where they believe they have to be strong, and they care so much about not being embarrassed and blah blah blah, and just being more popular. And fighting gets involved. Basically when fighting becomes popular, just like sports, fighting becomes popular. It's a popular thing. It's just done in the wrong manner in this world, but it's actually a popular human thing to do when it comes to watching or actually doing it. Kind of like boxing or UFC. It's just like sports. People like watching it. So when that gets involved in the teenage world, it'll be a huge thing, and it just kind of turns into like a little competition. Overall, young teenagers just aren't taught well enough to avoid that. The consequences are just not enough. It's just not enough to fight against that. In my opinion, another reason why young teenagers, especially in the teenage world, will actually fight people is because they don't have anything else to actually become something. Sometimes, especially reputation, they follow in this reputation world in school, and there's a lot of teenagers that don't know how to do anything. They don't have time to. They should know how to do a lot of things, talented things, but in the type of world we live in, they don't have time to spend at home to actually do that. And being at school all day long, every day, they follow in this kind of family reputation where it's like everything is for school, basically. And that includes impressing people. And when they can't sing, and some of them can't look good either, they just don't know how, or they don't know any better, and some of them aren't strong or, athletic at the very least. When they can't impress people with anything, fighting does come into the picture. They are so quick to fight, especially in front of people, because they want to, I know how this feeling is, they want to do something fascinating. Like, kind of like in a dodgeball game. You want to play dodgeball so bad to show off your skills. It's like that with fighting. In this world, in America, the average human being, besides the rich ones that get to do a lot of things, or high-class people, the average human being is bored as shit. We're bored. And then there's a lot of frustration with being at home. A teenager is going to be fast and quick to fight. They want to show off what they got and look good, even if they're scared. In the end, they don't want to back down too. It's like as if their reputation means a lot to them. It's a big price because it's all they have, so they don't want to give it up. A lot of teenagers don't want to run. A lot of teenagers don't want to tell teachers. This is why I really hate, I hate this whole world, obviously, because it puts a lot of pressure on younger people sometimes, and a lot of the teachers, or a lot of the rules, whatever, rule makers, principals, will expect that the kid should tell a teacher. They're not doing that. Never. They will never do that. That won't happen. Their reputation means a lot to them. Again, they got nothing else. This world is not that special. It doesn't bring a lot to us. It should, but in society, what else do we do other than a couple of dozen things when we're at home? That's just nothing. We have hardly anything to really look up to. As young teenagers, their reputation is worth a lot to them. They look up to that, and you wonder why. There isn't much to life except their reputation at school. So their friends mean a lot to them too. They don't want to lose a fight, and they don't want to back down from one. They do want to fight too because they want to show off. And it's fun. What else do they get to do other than smoke weed? Fighting is fun. That's just how it is. There are funner things out there, but again, there's not much to our life. To the average human, there's not much to life. This world, and especially this country, has taken it all away from us. I mean, it's said, hey, do all this, do all that, do all that, do all that, do it for a huge number of amount of years, do it right and perfectly, and then you can have anything you want. That's how this life is in this world. Shitty. You gotta be perfect, basically, just to really achieve a lot that you want. And it doesn't happen in your teenage years. It happens when you're a fucking old ass bitch. Shitty, huh? When you finally get so much money, you're old as fuck. It's too fucking late. So there's not much to your young teenage life. The average teenager doesn't have very much at all. As much as we think we do with our cell phones and devices and video games, there's not much of an adventurous life. So fighting is just the easiest thing for them to do. They will do that, and they won't stop. They're not going to tell a fucking teacher. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. Tell a teacher. How lame is that, right? Here's the thing about me. I don't know anything about telling a teacher. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to say it's the best thing to do. Here's the thing. I'm full of heart, obviously. I am not a person to provoke a fight or to say that that's the right thing to do. I do love fighting. I love the idea of it, but I don't think any fight should break out. And if I ever saw a fight, at least if it made sense, I would definitely go right in there and break it up. For example, if two females were fighting, depending on how they were, if they were clean females, or no, if it just got down to a dirty point, and it got nasty, I would definitely break it up. I would not enjoy that. I would not enjoy watching a fight like that. But if two people fought and they just fought it out, but they let go and nobody got hurt, That's the point that I would pretty much hold on for. But if it gets too long or it gets dirty, I would definitely break it up. Some people aren't like that. However, so that's the type of person I am. However, I don't approve of this whole thing about telling the teacher and things like that. I understand that that's what schools have to do, is tell people to do it. But if they expect kids to do that, they're fucked up in the head. It's just not something that will ever happen, because if I put myself in the mind of a teenager, telling the teacher is the stupidest thing in the world. I'm sorry, but you have to understand, if you're an adult, put yourself in the child's body. Their reputation means more than anything. They don't want to tell a teacher. They don't want to be what they call a snitch, or a weakling, or just a scared pussy or whatever. These kids don't want to do that, and you can tell them as a million times. You can even be their own parent and tell them. They're not doing it. They will go to school, learn from other kids, follow in their footsteps, and gain an interest to this whole reputation thing. That's just how they will do it. The only kids that will tell a teacher are the ones that are considered as lame or nerdy. That's how it's going to be forever until life changes. So, why don't people break up fights, basically? It's kind of sad, huh, how people don't break up fights when they see it. There's a lot of fights that go down, and especially young teens will not do anything about it. Here's the thing, here's what I believe. I think I kind of had this in me a little bit too when I was younger. When a young teen, especially a young teen, when they watch a fight, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to react. The only thing they know is watch, and if they can, enjoy. That's the only thing they know. It's as simple as it is. You have to teach them. You gotta tell them. Have a heart for people. You have to... You see, the thing about the humans is sometimes some humans won't have a heart for something unless they know a reason why. Unless they have a reason to. Kids are not going to break up fights unless they are given a reason to. And that reason has to be given from their parents. You have to care about people. You can't enjoy a person getting hurt. Things like that is going to cause a young teenager to break up a fight. I've seen it before. They will break up a fight, but they have to be taught to do so. Usually they don't do it. Why? Because they're not taught to do so. You know what they are taught, though? They are taught to go to school and to learn deep math, deep social studies, and deep science, and so forth, but they just aren't even taught to even be a fucking human, huh? They can't be taught to break up a fucking fight. Shitty. They can't be taught to actually do justice at a young age. We miss out on humanity. We put so much school in our head, but we miss out on humanity. That's why there's so much violence. So anyways, when they don't break up these fights, as you can see, the world is every man for himself. Even parents aren't convinced that they need to tell these kids to take care of other people, even if there's some people that they don't know, to be helpful like that. Again, because it's every man for himself. And why is it every man for himself? Well, here's the thing about the human race. When your life is shitty, you just don't give a fuck. You don't give a crap about anybody. So when your life is crappy, you're not gonna think that it's important to take care of other people, especially when you're a person who is selfish too. With a crappy life, you're gonna think, oh, they need to take care of me. It's just how it is. If this country isn't gonna take care of the people within this country, the controllers, if they're not gonna help these people out, these people aren't gonna help this country out. It's just how it is. Violence will be there. People are not going to protect other people because it's every man for himself. Simple as that. No justice. How awesome is that, right? I'm glad I actually figured that one out. It's like this country wanted to be an independent, the type of country where you're independent, you're an individual, which is stupid, right? Because if you make it that way, obviously it's every man for himself, meaning we're not going to take care of each other. It's as simple as it is. That's why life is so crappy. We're not taking care of each other. This country needs to get away from that every man for itself. It needs to get away from that, meaning it needs to change its laws. That doesn't have anything to do with us citizens. That's the fucking laws. Every man for himself. So when people have crappy lives, what exactly within these bad lifestyles that cause people to do violence or not support others who are facing violence on them, or even cause parents to abuse their kids or something like that? Well, here's the thing. the bad lifestyles, which what makes it bad is the lack of having something that they really need. For example, animals do it all the time. They fight all the time. Animals like dogs, guinea pigs, hamsters, cats, like all the pet animals, even fucking mice. Even mice fight. I never knew that until I saw it. And you know why? It usually happens when they're hungry. It's just the fact that when you lack something and you can't do anything about it to get it, you go mad. You either go sad or emotional, or you mostly go mad. You see, the thing about this country, which is crap, it doesn't take care of its people that are in low class. When a person, especially like me, when a person can't get something because they just lack the ability to do so, they go mad. They go angry. So you wonder where the violence comes from. It comes from those people. For example, if a person is homeless, eventually they may go mad and eat the nastiest thing. You don't even need to guess. You already know what it is. So it's like, the thing is, people do crazier things when they're in worse situations that they can't help. People get angry when they're in situations that they can't help. It's just a frustrating thing about life when you can't get past something. Think of a video game, for example. Especially guys that play video games, we all know how this is. When you're playing a game and it's super hard and you can't get past a certain part, it can get frustrating. Some people go crazier though. Some people can't help themselves, and they end up breaking their own controller from throwing it at the wall or something, or just screaming and things like that. So we know how that is. It's the same way with life. Apply that to your lifestyle. Yeah, this is why fights happen. This is why there's violence. People go crazy. They get mad. And some people get so out of hand because they can't keep themselves contained that they wind up beating someone down to death, or just doing something extremely crazy. Violence. That's where it comes from. So, how do we get rid of violence, basically? In America especially. Obviously, the answer is we have to get rid of stress. That is what influences violence the most here. That's what influences everything. Crimes, bad relationships, everything. If, as long as we have hard lifestyles and households that are very difficult to deal with, there's going to be violence. So, reverse it. In order to get rid of violence, we have to make life here easier for us to manage. In other words, this ain't the citizens. This is the actual controllers. Whoever makes the laws, rules, whatever goes on, the leaders, this country, those people, they need to change something here. It's as simple as that. They gotta make things easier for people to manage, for people to handle it and get past this difficult challenge in this American lifestyle. People need to be able to go through life in America without going through so much frustration. People need to be able to go through life in America without going through so much frustration. So, it's got to be less frustrating, basically. It's too stressful for us. It's as simple as that. There's nothing we citizens can do. It's been thousands of years. I'll say it every time. It's been too many years. You can't expect us to change. It ain't happening. Citizens won't change. They won't do it. You got to change the laws. Simple as that. That's the only way. You change those laws, they'll be able to handle life differently according to those changes. They will do it inevitably, so that's just human life right there. We will see less violence if people can manage their lives a lot easier. So, less stress, less violence. Easier lifestyles, less stress, less violence. If we don't change how hard we deal with life here, such as school and jobs and things like that, then there will be more fights, there will be more arguments, more bad relationships, more crimes, more unsuccessful marriages, and more stress and more of everything that we don't want in this country. There will be more of everything. It's as simple as that. So, heck, even people who are in high class go mad and angry and stressed. Some of them are just able to contain themselves. So, yeah. So all of that is just violence. The extreme amount of violence we have here is the result of a hard-working life. So, yeah. That's all from me. Thanks for watching, and so yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. See you next time.